Now I'm going to talk over Seme No Waza. Those are attacking techniques. I'm gonna show all basic Morota attacks, the two-handed attacks. The complete basis is a straight cut. With the other leg in front. What is important here? I shouldn't perform this cut like this, but elliptically, to the front, like if I were casting a fishing rod. We even named that movement after fishing for training purposes. Here, the sword should develop the highest speed and have the highest kinetic energy. And here, at this height, more or less, the swish should be audible. It's here in front of me where I'm cutting, and not here, okay? Here I throw my arms to the front, and I am fishing. Here, I'm pulling my arms, as if I were cutting an onion. It looks like that. So we have two movements that make up for the cut. A throw forward, the pulling, and the cutting. A katana should be considered as a big knife, not a cleaver. Okay? A cut by the body is strong, but has a small range. I reach only here. If the technique has an effective range shorter than half a meter, it means something is wrong with it. And the cut is strongest and fastest here. So cut along the ellipse, to the front. The second very important notice is a swing. I shouldn't take the swing this far, because I am exposed, and also because I will accelerate the sword not at the right moment. I will accelerate it somewhere over my head, instead of just before hitting the target. The third thing is an edge alignment. I should cut like this, not like this, nor this. So the wrists are working during the cuts like this, independently whether it's a forward or upward cut. It doesn't matter. Here. So in one axis, with the handle. Not like that. Look what happens to the wrists when they don't fold well. It's not natural. And that is. Right hand is being blocked by the other hand, and the movement is naturally stopped at knee height. To achieve this, I have to tighten my wrists inwards. This is so-called shibori, movement. Actually, it's not a movement. It's like when you squeeze a wet cloth. Like this, inwards. So I don't grab the handle from a side, but with my wrists tightened and twisted, it looks like that. And there is also a little cutting move, aside from fishing and pulling the sword. The right hand is responsible for achieving the right angle of the cut. This is the vertical angle, so there shouldn't be a big problem to inspect it. And for the throwing the sword to the front, for this movement, while the left hand is responsible for pulling the sword. So in micro scale, this hand is fishing, and the other is additionally strengthening the cut by pulling the sword in the target. It is quite complicated, even though the technique is fairly simple. Name Shomengiri. Front, vertical cut. Makko also. Shomen, man, mask, straightforward cut. If we are talking about the Kesa-giri, the monk's robe is also worn like this. over the shoulder and is named kesa, kesa giri. So the cut alongside the rope's alignment. So approximately from a shoulder to a hip, from a shoulder to a hip. The cutting angle 45 degrees. Okay? Or 40 degrees, something between. And this is a cutting angle, and this is an edge alignment. Okay? What is important? From my perspective, I can only see the back of the sword, and you can only see the cutting edge. And this is correctly performed cut in this climatic moment. On the other side, it looks like that. Pay attention that my arms are completely straight. Like this, and not bent. And again we have 1. A swing. 2. I catch a good angle. I straighten my arms and I have good edge alignment. And this is the fishing we talked about, but now at an angle. And the pull. I'll show it facing you. And so it is. I catch a good angle, edge alignment is correct, I finished fishing so far, and I am pulling. And now what is happening with my hands is a bit different, because kisaki is in the front of the backwards leg, or even outside of the body's space, and with the straight cut it was within the body's space. With kesagiri it looks like that. At the end of the cut, left hand and kashira should be in front of the belly button. The tsuka shall never leave the body's space. We never cut like this, because body is rotating itself, and the head is the most exposed body part. And this is very bad. Secondly, the sword is far away from my enemy, and you also expose your leg, and sword can't protect you. From this position, I can deflect enemy's sword and attack again. I can reposition the sword and attack. Okay? In case of attack, I can cover myself, because the handle is still in front of me. The sword is also in front of me and not by the side. Such extensive movements in fencing are not good. On the other side, analogically, and I should be able, here, on this height, to accelerate the sword to the maximum. Like this. I even managed to stop it right now. That's where the sword should have high speed. The pull. So here we have the element of the cut, during which the swish should be heard. It's here, before you hit the target. Angle of the cut 45 degrees. Fishing normally. Pulling the sword normally. Wrist work the same, okay? Okay? Shibori the same. The only difference is that this cut is oblique. And we start from here. We don't signalize. And one more important thing, we should avoid cuts in direction of our own body. So if I have right leg in front, I cut from right to left. And when I have left leg in front, I cut from left to right. Please don't do this. Those swords are very sharp. And if you have bad habits, on the inner side of the hip there is one of the biggest arteries. So if you trim yourself, it could have a very sad ending. Okay, now waki kamae. We are going to cut from down. This is important. Now look at the blade. We shouldn't cut like this, because I'm hitting with the side of the sword. At the moment of the swing, I should feel. Here, the blade is pointing aside, and now it's pointing downwards. When it's like that, the cut is certain and good. I should stop the cut when the kisaki is pointing at the enemy. Okay? It might be a bit higher than my head, but it shouldn't be like this. If we had a ceiling here, I would hit it. Even if I don't hit the ceiling, again, I am exposed too much. Here, just in case, I can perform a thrust or a block, a variety of techniques from this position. And from this one, not really, okay? And here again, we cut by the ellipse. But I try to throw my hands forward as much as I can and pull just a little bit when I'm ending the cut. I'll show you on the other side. A good kiriage looks like that. Hop. The arm ends the cut slightly bent. And I strengthen the cut with a body rotation. And as I start here aside and end the cut in front, I can raise my heel. So with kesagiri, I start in front and end at slight angle, at 3/4. So the opposite. And this cut is from up and kiriage is from down. Here. And the sound of this swish should be somewhere down here. Not here. I act in the contrary to the gravity. And thus, I need some additional force from the spin, which I have done. And I end this cut in somewhat of a counterpost. And somewhere on this height, I need to accelerate the sword. If I would pull the sword from the edge, if I were pulling the sword from the target too fast, I wouldn't cut anything well. And it would look like that. Look at this arm. This arm isn't bent naturally. I should end like this, not like this. That means I cut by the body in a semicircular arc. I extensively use hip rotation and the whole body. I need that additional force because I cut opposite to the gravity. What is important is not to lose that elliptic movement, although the cut is from below. Basically, if we are cutting kesagiri, the oblique cut, we cut like this. An angle is 40 to 45 degrees. The kiriage is at the same angle, but is performed from below. At this stage here, down, I should already have tightened the wrists, and then use the force from the rotation, and not try to finish the wrist twist while cutting the target. Okay, so similarly here, I tightened my wrists and straightened my arms. Same here, I tightened wrists, took a proper angle and straightened my arms. And further, I pull with the hip. And this is what a good repetitive kiriage looks like, with predictable results. By cutting your way, you will probably cut. Because, surprise, surprise, the swords are meant to cut. And whenever somebody can cut or not, swords are very good at that. But it is not the point to only cut, but to cut properly. The last of the two-handed cuts, morote cuts, is yokogiri. My yokogiri looks like that. And now, this cut has several varieties. This is my starting position. Okay? It doesn't have its own name, like waki kamae, jodan kamae, but it exists. I do it like this. To properly set the starting stance, I should loosen the sword in my right hand. and counterbalance it with my left hand. By doing that, I will position the sword completely horizontally, because there is no margin of error. A horizontal cut should be flat, period. I shouldn't pull from behind the body, but from here. Remember, this is 2.5 kilos razor, and we don't need such extensive swing. And next I throw my hands to the front, close my wrists, and pull. On the other side, hop. I change the position, I push my hands towards the target, and then pull. And I am not cutting so far, because I will let the sword go or rotate it. There is only that kind of work of the wrists. There is no rotating movement of the wrists. There is that. Swing, a position, a swing, and a cut. And somewhere here there should be audible the swish, just before hitting the tatami. I reset the grip. I don't change anything with the grip. The grip, tenouchi, the sword grip is sent if we are talking about the attacking techniques. Nothing is changing. It looks like that. I shouldn't cut like that, because then my cut has a little range. I should throw my hands to the front, so we have this elliptic movement. We have the pull. I shouldn't be pulling further, because I will start rotating. Hop, I reset, and kisaki, the apex, circles 180 degrees, but counting along with the resetting. There is also a training form of this cut. We put our toes outside. Knees are like that, in the shikodachi position. And we cut like this. This is training form, and we can cut like this, sure. But this is facilitating, just like with taking measure where to cut during the kesagiri. Somebody advanced should cut from normal yaidoshi, from fencing position, and not like this. Why? Ask yourself how many times during the fight you would stand like this. And you will know. Probably none. Okay? The last offensive technique is thrust. Thrust both hands. Tsuki. Looks like that. Just as I have my sword in the chudonkame position, so I have the foreshortening, which makes it unable to determine the length of the sword. I just keep going through the same vector. I tighten my wrists, straighten my elbows, I push closer to the enemy. 1/3 of power is spent on the thrust itself, and 2/3 on pulling the sword, along with the body's step back. You will probably see better sideways. 1, 2. 1, 2. And this is Seme No Waza. In some sword schools, you raise the sword and thrust like that. But traditionally, in Toyamaryu, sword comes in below the breastbone and comes out a bit higher, puncturing the pericardial sac. This is a short technique, but very powerful, because the surface of the puncture is very little, and you could even attack a fully armed enemy with the yoroi and Japanese armor. And those are basic offensive techniques in samurai fencing, but to do.